Hey there, history buffs! Buckle up because we're about to dive into one of the most significant events in English history, the Norman Conquest of 1066. Why is 1066 so important? Imagine England getting a total makeover. New rulers, new language, new castles. It's like hitting the refresh button on a whole country. But why did this happen? Well, it all started with a royal death and a whole lot of ambition. Picture this: Edward the Confessor, the King of England, kicks the bucket without an heir. Talk about awkward. This power vacuum throws England into a frenzy, with several contenders vying for the throne. Among them were two key players: William, Duke of Normandy, that's in France by the way, and Harold Godwinson, a powerful English earl. What followed was a year of epic battles, political maneuvering, and enough drama to make your head spin. So, grab your armor, figuratively of course, and let's journey back to 1066 and witness the Norman Conquest unfold. Okay, picture England before 1066. It wasn't exactly a peaceful paradise. Imagine a patchwork of different kingdoms, each with its own ruler, constantly vying for power. It was like a never-ending Game of Thrones. The Anglo-Saxons, descendants of Germanic tribes, had ruled England for centuries. They had their own language, laws, and customs. Think mead halls, epic poems, and a healthy dose of Viking raids. Life wasn't all battles and bloodshed, though. Anglo-Saxon England was a vibrant place with bustling towns, skilled artisans, and beautiful monasteries. But let's be real, the kings loved a good power struggle, and that's precisely what set the stage for the Norman Conquest. When Edward the Confessor died without a clear heir, it was like opening Pandora's box. Everyone wanted a piece of the English pie, and boy did things get messy. Now let's meet our leading man, William, Duke of Normandy. This wasn't your average medieval duke. William was tough, ambitious, and believed he had a divine right to the English throne. You see, William claimed that Edward the Confessor had promised him the throne years ago. Was it a legit claim? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing's for sure: William was determined to make it happen, even if it meant conquering an entire country. He was known for his military prowess, ruthlessness — he was called William the Bastard for a reason — and a burning desire to prove himself. Think of him as a medieval CEO, laser-focused on his goal: taking over England. On the other side of the English Channel stood Harold Godwinson, a powerful English earl who was no stranger to power struggles. Harold claimed that Edward had chosen him as his successor on his deathbed. Convenient, right? Harold was a skilled warrior and a shrewd politician. He had the support of the English nobility, making him a formidable opponent for William. But Harold also had enemies, and they were watching his every move. Think of Harold as the underdog in this story, the guy who has to defend his home turf against a powerful invader. He knew the stakes were high, and he was ready to fight tooth and nail for his crown. Section 5. The Battle of Hastings, clashes, conquests, and a very famous tapestry. And now, for the main event. On October 14, 1066, the fate of England hung in the balance as two armies clashed near a little town called Hastings. Picture the scene: thousands of soldiers, the clash of steel, the thunder of hooves, and a whole lot of yelling. It was a battle for the ages. William's Norman army was a force to be reckoned with. They were highly disciplined, with skilled archers and heavily armored knights. Harold's English forces, while brave, relied heavily on infantry armed with axes and shields. The battle raged for hours, a brutal back-and-forth struggle. Just when it seemed like Harold might pull off a victory, an arrow found its mark, striking him in the eye. Ouch! With their leader gone, the English army crumbled, and William emerged victorious. The Battle of Hastings wasn't just a clash of swords and shields, it was a clash of cultures, a turning point in English history. And if you ever want to see a visual play-by-play, check out the Bayeux Tapestry, a 70-meter-long embroidered masterpiece that tells the story of the battle in all its gory glory. Section 6. Norman rule, new sheriff in town. With Harold out of the picture, literally, William the Conqueror wasted no time in making England his own. He marched on to London, claiming the English throne on Christmas Day, 1066. Talk about a holiday takeover. William, now King William I of England, wasn't about to let another power struggle erupt. He granted land to his loyal Norman followers, replacing the Anglo-Saxon elite. Imagine a complete regime change with new laws, a new language, French of course, and a new social order. To keep a tight grip on his newly acquired kingdom, William built castles, conducted a comprehensive land survey. Hello, Domesday Book. and generally made sure everyone knew who was boss. Section 7 Castles from wooden forts to stone giants. If there's one thing the Normans knew how to do, it was build castles. And we're not talking about your average sandcastle here. These were imposing stone fortresses, designed to project power and intimidate the locals. Before the Normans, English fortifications were mostly simple wooden structures. The Normans took castle building to a whole new level, introducing the motte and bailey design, a wooden keep on a raised mound, surrounded by a fortified courtyard. These castles weren't just for show, they served as military strongholds, administrative centers and symbols of Norman dominance. They dotted the English landscape, a constant reminder of the new power structure. Over time, these wooden fortresses were replaced with even grander stone castles, like the Tower of London, which still stands today as a testament to Norman architectural prowess. Remember that time you ordered beef instead of cow or pork instead of pig? Well, you can thank the Norman Conquest for that linguistic quirk. When the Normans took over, French became the language of the elite. English didn't disappear, but it got a serious makeover. French words flooded the language, especially in areas like law, government, and yes, even cuisine. Imagine a linguistic melting pot with English and French words simmering together, eventually creating the rich and diverse language we know and love today. So the next time you bust out your fancy French vocabulary, remember the Norman Conquest. It's the reason you can say rendezvous instead of meeting. The Norman Conquest wasn't just a blip on the radar of English history, it was a seismic shift that left an indelible mark on England, shaping its culture, language, and destiny. The feudal system, with its lords, vassals, and complex web of obligations, took root in England, influencing its social structure for centuries. The Norman legal system, with its emphasis on written law and royal courts, laid the foundation for the English common law system we know today. Even English art, architecture, and literature were forever changed by the Norman Conquest. Just look at the magnificent Romanesque cathedrals and castles that still dot the English landscape. The Norman Conquest may have happened over 900 years ago, but its legacy lives on in the very fabric of English society. It's a reminder that sometimes history can be a bit like a messy breakup. It leaves its mark, but it also creates something new and unexpected. Okay, so we've traveled back in time, met the key players, and witnessed the drama of the Norman Conquest. But why should we care? What does this ancient history have to do with us today? Well, for starters, the Norman Conquest is a prime example of how a single event can have ripple effects throughout history. It's a reminder that the world we live in today is shaped by the events of the past, even those that happened centuries ago. Moreover, the Norman Conquest is a fascinating study in cultural exchange, or should we say, cultural collision. It shows how the mixing of different cultures, even through conquest, can lead to new traditions, languages, and ways of life. So, the next time you hear someone speaking English, marvel at a Norman castle, or ponder the complexities of the English legal system, remember the Norman Conquest. It's a story of ambition, conquest, and the enduring power of the past. Hey there, history explorers! Was your curiosity piqued by our whirlwind tour of the Norman Conquest? If you're hungry for more historical adventures, then grab your metaphorical shovels and let's keep digging. There are tons of amazing resources out there to fuel your history obsession. Check out your local library or bookstore for books, documentaries, and even historical fiction that brings the past to life. Don't forget about the power of the internet. Websites, online courses, and even podcasts can transport you to different eras and introduce you to fascinating figures from history. Remember, history isn't just about memorizing dates and names, it's about understanding the stories, the people, and the events that have shaped our world. So, keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep the spirit of historical adventure alive.